Right, we are live. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cam in Focus Weekly. With me today, as he typically is Mr. Andrew. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I saw 28 Years Later today.
How was it?
It's awesome. The Alex Garland and Danny Boyle returned, and it shows. Cinematography they used for certain shots. They used the
iPhone cameras.
15.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Honestly, it still looks great. Like the cinematography is beautiful in this movie. And it's close to 28 days. I'll tell you that. It's pretty close. So anyway,
that's good.
Pretty good.
That's good. I'm planning on seeing it myself. Hopefully, sometime soon. I have to watch the first movies again, but anyways. And also with us is Mr. Dave. How are you today, sir?
I'm as well as can be expected for I have to go back to work tomorrow kind of day.
Gotcha. I understand that. I'm in the same boat, unfortunately. Andrew, when you get old enough to get a job, you'll know too.
Right. What's a job, actually?
Right. And then Mr. Justin down there in the corner. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. I might just be on this discussion for a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to be here for the full discussion, though.
No problem. No problem at all. All right. So today we're discussing a series that is very, very near and dear to my heart. It's called Dark Knight. Now, it's not Batman. I'm not talking about, the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight Rises, the Dark Knight Returns, nothing like that. No, this is a medieval fantasy series from the UK that's tells the tale of the great knight Ivanhoe, which, if you're familiar at all with medieval type stuff, Ivanhoe was, a knight back then who was very notable. He did a lot of cool things. I don't know too much about him. I didn't do any research leading up to this, so shame on me. But this series came out back in the year 2000, and at the time they were releasing 2-episode increments on DVD, so that each DVD would function as like its own movie. With these first 2 episodes too, especially because it's actually one running story. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I'm sure that probably none of you had seen this before. This is kind of an obscure series that's a little bit hard to find. Andrew, what did you think of those first 2 episodes?
I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed them, to be honest. Yeah, there's some cheesiness to it, but all in all, it was enjoyable. I loved the name Mordor.
Oh yeah, with a U. Yeah, exactly.
And I love that. I'm being attacked. Anyway, it's all right. Night. The speech, the curse speech, like the black tongue almost. Sometimes it made me think of like the writers were like, just say whatever gibberish comes to mind,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Choreography was funny because sometimes it was really good, and then sometimes looks like they filmed it slow and then sped it up.
Yeah.
But no, it was enjoyable. I liked it. I'll probably watch the rest of it at some point. So
awesome.
My quick thoughts.
How about you, Dave?
Well, yeah. I don't get me wrong. There were parts of it where I was like, really, we're gonna do this? Okay.
Of course.
I kept expecting Robin Hood to pop up at some point, mainly because it's basically the same thing.
Sort of. Yeah.
The CGI in it was
abysmal.
That was my favorite part of it, to be honest.
it was better than the CGI for Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So,
well, to be fair, that's a very low bar to hurdle.
But regardless, it's still.
Wait, you're telling me that stuff wasn't real? They didn't have set?
speaking of sets, and see this was one of the weird things because I mean they had these sets and they're not elaborate sets. They are not. I mean, you're very obviously.
I thought
not
they were
doing
kind
a
of impressive
high-budget
given the
thing.
circumstances.
Some of them were, yeah.
Some of them
Yeah.
were, but a lot of them I kept expecting to say, "Oh, there's the devil" in the first episode. Well, was it the first or second episode? I don't remember. Anyway, we get to the Devil's Tower.
Yeah, that's the second episode.
And I was like, okay, they're at the Devil's Tower. Oh, look, it's the Devil's Tower. And I halfway expected him to say, it's only a model. And I was like, God. Because, the only reason I said that, so I watched both of these like all at once. And I watched them this afternoon. Okay. And another one that got me was when he meets the female protagonist.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Rebecca.
Rebecca, yes. Okay. So when he meets her for the first time, they are about to burn her at the stake for being a witch. And one of the lines, I swear to God, was, "Plus, look at the way she's dressed. She looks like a witch." And I'm like, my God, it's Monty Python. You took lines from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
There's some
How do you know
influences
she's
there.
a witch? She looks like one.
And I love when the guys go to attack him. It's kind of like Time Cop, Cam, because Ivanhoe just goes like do 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 do,
Well,
and they're all going like
That's to be fair for them,
Yeah.
that's all he has to do. He's fighting peasants.
that's
now,
true.
And again, too, but if you look at some of those, like I think it was the first time he fought some of the Prince John's army or minions or whatever. Yeah, you're right. He was doing do, and he was just doing that. But then they stopped attacking. I mean, they were doing all this cool stuff, and he was just parry, dodge, parry. And it was like, all right, this is nothing. But then he turns around, he flips the script, and then he goes into some awesome choreography too, and they're fighting back. So, I mean, honestly, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is cheesy. And then he turns around, I'm like, all right, so he was just avoiding the attack at this point, and now he's gone from defensive mode into offensive mode. All right.
Mhm.
All right, I get that. All right. But the dialogue, some of the dialogue was really cheesy.
Of
The-
course.
Yeah.
The acting, the Rebecca, oh my God, when they kidnapped her and the horses, when he went in to go look at the friar, and he's fighting all of it, and he's fighting the one guy like in the river. She's just standing there like, it's like, don't just do something, stand there, for
Well,
God's sakes. And it was
what-
like, oh well, she's tied up. I don't care. You can still use your body as a weapon. Am
Well,
I
yeah.
wrong?
One thing I noticed when they were, I don't remember what castle they were at, but it's where the rocks are being shot at him.
The Devil's Tower.
That was
Okay,
Devil's Tower.
yeah. What I love is they obviously went and filmed the voiceovers because there's parts where like Rebecca will be like, "Come on, Odo," and the shots on her and her mouth's not moving.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, and
But I
again,
get it was still enjoyable. Like I don't.
for all of
you know.
it, I mean, it's funny to laugh at, and there are parts where it is funny. But as far as the story goes, I think Cam, you had mentioned something about and maybe I'm just thinking out of my head about this when you had mentioned something about, oh, it's kind of like the Goonies, but in medieval times. And I was looking at it going, no, this is like Dungeons and Dragons. This is exactly what this is. You've got your wizard person or character.
yeah.
You've got your healer.
You got your Odo.
You're
Yeah.
not, yeah. Well, Odo would be like your wizard character. You've got Rebecca
yeah.
as your healer, which, by the way, every time the cut's not that bad. Every time. I was like, does anybody really get hurt? Anyway, but yeah, I mean, for what it was. I'm definitely going to continue on because
Yeah, I enjoyed
I'm
it.
curious as to what happened to Mordor.
Oh
But-
sure.
I know.
And
Yeah.
he was great. I liked him.
Yeah.
He played
Oh,
a
he
great
was
evil
so
guy.
much fun.
Mhm.
He was a good villain.
Saya, I don't desire from in anything in this material world.
Now, Prince John was kind of a putz, but whatever.
He's supposed to be though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I
How
love
about-
when they try to trick him. All the I don't know what you'd call them, but the guys in the castle, they trick him to find their loyalty to King Richard.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
would-
his
Would you
his
pledge allegiance to
attendants.
King Richard? And they're like, of course. And he's like, arrest him. You know,
Treachery to Prince John.
my kids will come to save me. Oh,
Your children! Don't count on it. Get them out of my sight. How about you, Justin? Well, we hadn't gotten around to you yet. Was this your first time watching this too?
Yes, it was. It was definitely a lot better than River Beast. I'll say that. But
Oh, Andrew's gonna block you.
No,
Um,
I'm
it's
in
probably-
agreement with him on this one.
I
It's
think
It
I
was
probably-
better than the River Beast.
it's probably something. It's probably not something I would typically watch, but
Sure.
it was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Yeah. Definitely.
I was
mean,
impressed by some of the production value, some of the
Mhm.
castles
Yeah.
and stuff like
Well,
that.
for a lower budget series, there are a surprising amount of on location.
yeah, I did like
filming. Now, granted, most of it was in like woods and trails and stuff, but I mean, they could have very easily just done like a cheap soundstage for that. But that they went the extra mile and did as much on location filming as they could. And Andrew, you were saying earlier, a lot of the sets. I mean, yeah, some sets you could kind of tell that they were avoiding filming in a certain direction because then,
Right.
then it would open up out into the studio. But some of those sets were pretty well made.
Yeah,
And-
I thought so.
If you're going to build a set that looks like that, and this was another complaint that I had, you can build a set and you can put smoke effects in it to where if your castle is burning, it actually has smoke rising out of it rather than trying to computer generate smoke
Right.
coming out of your set and just make it look cheesy at that point. So
Yeah.
and plus
they computered-
and use the exact same smoke for the friar's house and for the castle, and I think there was another one too, where all three of them had the exact same 2 pillars of smoke coming out of the exact same spot in each one of the castles. So
They computer generated the pee that was thrown on Odo.
Yeah.
I thought was funny.
I liked that monster that was like coming out of the wall at the end of like the second
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was set. So, when this series opens up, we're introduced to Mordor, and he has a couple of thralls with him that he sends in to get a spell book that was left by his ancestor. And that's the first time that we're introduced to the CGI of this movie, because when those goons try to escape, the cage comes down and that Wraith Grim Reaper looking thing comes out and it's just coming at them like this with the big teeth. And now I remember the first time I watched this, I was like 9 or 10 years old, and the first time I saw that, I was scared shitless. I mean, that was traumatizing to me as a kid, despite how terrible the CGI was.
I can't imagine how scary Tancred was for you.
Oh, yeah.
When
Well, when he's all demonified and whatnot. Yeah. Well, that was actually. It was kind of traumatizing to me as well. But
no, a CGI ghost is more scary. Okay,
of course,
see how it is.
And it's interesting what they did with that character, because not that it was a good decision in my personal opinion, but they have this character. We meet him at the very beginning of the movie. He's one of the knights who's captured, and when the torturer goes up to mess with him, he says, we don't have any treasure, but in this castle you hold something every man in England would pay for, and that's King Richard. And so then they let him go to try and build up a ransom, and he's set up to be like a big antagonist for Ivanhoe, because Tancred, under King John's orders, kills his father, or well, supposedly kills his father.
Prince John.
Yeah. He supposedly kills Ivanhoe's father, burns down his home, etc., etc. And Ivanhoe swears revenge, and then like 2 scenes later, he kills him.
Yeah. Dude, this is up there. That fight is up there with Paul Atreides and Fade Ralpha and Dune Part 2.
Oh my god!
I mean, just wow.
Don't get me wrong. The choreography isn't good, but you can tell that they really tried.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A lot of these lower budget film series, when they shoot action, a lot of it's going to be super close up, super shaky, really quick cut. But this fight actually has a lot of wide shots where you can see the actors doing the work. And as silly as a lot of that choreography came off, I got to give them credit for at least trying to make it grand.
No, I agree. And like David said earlier, there were some it has its moments where it's like really good, and then it kind of switches to like, okay.
Yeah.
But then it's enjoyable. Like
Yeah.
I didn't sit there going, okay, how much longer?
Yeah.
You know?
And well, with a series like this, you got to expect there to be a lot of kooky writing, which there's plenty of that, but there's little flavors of good writing in there. Like for example, whenever Ivanhoe meets Rebecca and she finds him at the camp and they sit down and they start talking, and she says, "Tell me about the Holy Land." I mean, the writers could have very easily gone into a spiel about how terrible it was and how bad the war was, et cetera, but Ivanhoe just says it's hot. She asks him, "Is that all you have to say about it?" And he says, "I went, I fought, I came back." And it's like, that's, I mean, as bare bones as that might seem, that's actually some decent characterization for like the stoic, you know.
We don't need all the
jaded
exposition, you know.
Yeah, he's the jaded, you know, battle weary knight, and dialogue like that really sells that, in my opinion.
Well, that kind of makes me think about when he meets the. I'm sorry, I do not remember the characters' names, but when he meets the wizard, the wizard says he has nothing to lose, and maybe that's not a good thing, because why would he have motivation to come back? No pun intended or joke intended. It just kind of reminds me of The Dark Knight Rises a little bit.
Right,
because, Batman in that movie kind of has no will to live, so he's just going on this kind of one last trying to save the world sort of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't really care too much if he actually gets out alive or not.
Yeah. Definitely. There's little sprinklings of really good characterization in there. It's just kind of a shame that they didn't really hone in on that and give it like the attention that I feel it deserved. And something funny about the character of Rebecca. I didn't really find this out until not too long ago. The actress who played her, Charlotte Comer, she actually has a small role in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Really?
Yeah. So when we have the Wonder Woman intro scene, and the terrorists are attacking that museum and they have all the kids rounded up and stuff, she's one of the teachers who's there with the kids.
Oh.
And there's I think 3 or 4 shots where you can very clearly see her, and I'm like, and I rewatched that movie like 6 months ago just because I felt like it, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, no shit, that's her.
Fine, I'll go rewatch Zack Snyder's Justice League.
One of the things I didn't care for as far as her, and it really has absolutely nothing to do with her as an actress, has nothing to do with the lines delivered, nothing like that. It's that the way that it was filmed, and this goes into the whole, we're back in 2000, so we don't have great cameras. It's obviously low budget, so we can't afford, top of the line stuff. But just the way that it was filmed with her flaming red hair. I mean, it almost looked like her hair was fake. It almost looked like it was like CGI'd on her head.
Sometimes it did.
Yeah. I was like, oh God, that's horrible. I'm like, could you not have done something with the lighting or something to fix her hair, because it looks bad. She looks like you CGI'd her hair on her head.
Yeah, I mean, hair dye technology wasn't nearly what it is today, unfortunately.
Guess not.
Now let's see. So Ivanhoe is on this quest to free King Richard from Austria, and this has him come across Rebecca. It has him come across the character of Odo, played by Peter O'Farrell. Now, if there was ever a character who was born to be comic relief in anything, it would be this character. Some of his stuff is legitimately funny. Like I watch it, and I still laugh sometimes. Like whenever he the second time he comes across the guy who he swindled at cards, and everybody's tussling and whatnot, and he pulls out a little purple egg and he goes, "Now stand back. I am not responsible for what happens next." And he throws it. It shatters. It's just an egg. And he just like,
wrong
"Oh,
egg."
wrong egg!" And he runs away.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Or in episode 2, when he does the invisible egg, he's like, "I love being invisible," and it wears off, and he's in front of Prince John, and he does like,
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
punch.
yeah.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's still covered in pee, and Prince John
Yeah.
smells him. He's like, "Is that you, Mordor?"
Right. Yeah.
He opens his eyes, and Odo's just there, just
Is he a legitimate? Because I tried to look the actor up. Is that actor a legitimately short actor?
yes.
Okay, because it almost seemed like in some points where he's trying to be shorter, he's like crouched down and is the way he's walking and everything. I'm like, oh, he's a normal average sized person just trying to be a short person. But if
They
he's a
definitely-
legitimately short person, then
Yes,
all right, that makes sense. then.
he's not like dwarf short. That they did take steps to make him seem as short, seem shorter than he really is. But I think the actor's like 4'11" or 5 foot flat or something like that. He's a smaller guy.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
And I love the story progression with this one because it's not an organically progressing story. It's very much the character arrives here, is told to go here. Character gets there and is told to go here, and the character gets there and is told to go here.
Well, it's a Dungeons and Dragons mission. That's exactly
absolutely.
that's what it is. So.
Absolutely. And their ultimate quest, for these 2 episodes specifically, because the ultimate quest is to free King Richard, but the quest for these 2 films is to find something called the Serpent's Egg, which was a gem produced by the Druids that has like a culmination of all their knowledge and power in it and whatnot.
Kind of like a glaive or something.
Oh, well, Justin's picture down there kind of looks like a glaive.
Yeah,
Oh, I think that's just because I have OBS installed.
I gotcha. It's either a glaive or a Gothic Mercedes logo.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's a Gothic Mercedes logo. Yeah, there you go.
So this Serpent's Egg, this is the big MacGuffin for these 2 episodes. And what does it do? Who knows? Why does it exist? Who knows? But how do they know that it can stop Set? Who knows?
Oh, that reminds me. When they get to that like pool with like the blood and everything, and Ivanhoe jumps across.
Yeah, that pool was a heck of a lot smaller than what it seemed like.
It's
That
just
seemed
one
like it was
long
like a-
step away.
Yeah,
They
it's
make
like-
it look like it's like 10, 15 feet long, and he just goes,
and he jumps. I was like, you probably could have stepped over it at this point because that's not that big. And then he pole vaults over it with the other one. I'm like, that staff ain't that long. You probably could have just stepped over that pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And the pool has those that slug thing in it where the blood kind of congeals and comes up into it like a slug mountain. It's very cheesy, but
It bites the end of the staff of Ra off, so it's not.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, you idiot, Odo!" And then they see the keys on top.
yeah. The key to this box that has this magnificent, all-powerful gem in it is on top of a staff that happens to be in this guy's possession. But at the same time, if you think about it, you can see why they went that route because Fingal,
No one would
which is
suspect it.
well, here's the thing. But Fingal, the old wizard guy that they meet, he's the last druid.
Mhm.
And so, I guess it stands to reason that he has the key to the stone and whatnot. But
That's what they should have done with the Last Jedi. They should have made that knife a key rather than Goonies
You mean Rise of
This-
Skywalker?
or the Rise of Skywalker. Yeah,
Yeah.
is they should have said, okay, here's this knife. The Sith Wayfinder is in the Emperor's throne room, and here's this knife. But the knife is the key that you need to open the door.
Yeah,
to get at
yeah.
the Sith Wayfinder.
Instead of just there
Somehow
you go,
Mordor
there.
returned.
Right.
that's where One-Eyed Palpy hit his Wayfinder.
Oh, what do you know?
I love how whenever Fingal is giving them their mission and Ivanhoe says, I have no fear of risking my life. And of course, they do the one thing that always raises the stakes for everybody. And Fingal goes, "Your life, your soul, you should worry about." It's like, oh yeah, because that wasn't a big thing for every freaking series from the 90s to the early 2000s.
What you said just there reminded me, I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but have you seen those bad Legend of Zelda CDI cutscenes on the internet?
I don't think so.
Alright. They're just poorly animated, but they're funny. They're funny.
I'll have to look that up later. Send me a link to it in the group chat.
Alright.
It's a link to the dark web, Cam.
Yeah, of course.
All your info's linked.
And there's a lot of character, quote unquote, development that is hinted at but never really expanded on. Like the character of Odo, a couple of times is accused of being the apprentice of the sorcerer Kazan. But who's Kazan?
Didn't Shaq play him in a movie back in the 90s?
That's Shazam, or no, Kazam.
Oh.
Kazam.
And what I love about the writing is Fingal here's the name Odo, which I guess is a very rare name because he goes, "Odo, I've heard that name before." Oh yes,
Yeah,
you know, just instantly. Right, it just thought it was funny, but like I said,
well, they travel in the same circles. It would stand a reason that
that's true.
one magician would know another magician.
And even Odo himself confirms it during one of the conversations he has with Ivanhoe and Rebecca. He says, Kazan was one of the old school magicians, but when he, when he like started, doing something, he said, "Well, I had to move on." So he confirms that he was, he was part of that circle.
We'll have the producers cut this part out. So
yeah, of course. But then there's also
I like the fact that they stuck to the story. They said, "Here's the story. We're trying to tell this story. We don't need a whole lot of exposition and backstory because that means we're just going to have to go back and make prequels, and we don't want to do that."
Right.
So it's just like, "Oh, you were okay, fine. You were his apprentice. Let's move on. Go to the next thing."
Yeah, exactly, and I really appreciate that. The narrative, as checkerboard type storytelling as it is very concise. It has its specific plot and it sticks to it. And another example of that is this is more of like a world building kind of exposition tidbit. When Ivanhoe is fighting Tancred, they go through their first exchange and then they pause, and Tancred says, "You've been away too long. You even fight like a Saracen." A Saracen is what the Crusaders called the Muslims, during the Crusades. And while a casual viewer might hear that and kind of either dismiss it or think that he misheard him and thought he said, "You even fight like an assassin" or something, that's actually a really clever kind of Easter egg to cement their place in time, to cement their place as characters, to hint at what they'd gone through before. I mean, that's just, like I said, there's little tidbits of really good writing in there. It's just
they did their homework.
Yeah, it's drops in a very big exposition pool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Was the girl at the end? Is that his fiance, his wife, his girlfriend?
No.
Who is that?
So that is Rowena.
His sister.
No, she was.
I was wondering because Rebecca seemed a little hurt that they were kissing each other. And I was like, "Oh, that's going to be like his sister or something like that." I don't know.
So we see we see a short scene of her near the beginning of the movie where she says, "For my friends on the coast, they say Ivanhoe has been seen.
We do not speak that name here."
And you find out from the nun that she's talking to that she is Ivanhoe's father's ward. So someone that he watches over.
So
Ivanhoe said earlier, he said that everyone near and dear to him has died, and then the guy says, your friend over here thinks differently or something like that. So I don't know.
Well,
So maybe she wants to be the love interest, but Ivanhoe
Yeah.
doesn't want to be the love interest.
Yeah,
that's very possible. I mean, Ivanhoe, whenever he's mourning his supposedly dead father in his castle or whatever that place is, yeah, he said, Rowena was my father's ward. She was no more than a girl when I saw her last. So,
Ooh.
well, we can assume that Ivanhoe's been gone probably for several years, which, for the Crusades was nothing, out of the ordinary.
Kind of like a Neil Stewart gone for like 3 years or something like that.
Yeah. And so, I think you're right, Dave. I think she wants to be the love interest, but I don't think he's really about it.
Yeah, but he forgot his sword.
That's okay. I like Rebecca better anyway.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah, I
she-
actually was thrown off when he kissed that girl because I was like, oh, I assumed.
She kissed him. He didn't kiss her.
No, that's true. That's true.
there was
I
no
wish
tongue
I-
involved, so
hey,
nothing
hey.
serious there.
I wish. Hey, I wish I had that problem. All right. What?
What? Well, you need to get your dad to take on a ward then. That's what you need.
That's right.
See, Andrew, the first thing we have to do is have the birds and the bees discussion with you. See, when a mommy and daddy love each other very much, they take their clothes off and hug and kiss, and then babies are made.
Then a
Oh,
stork
okay.
brings down a package from the
See,
cabbage
that's what
patch.
I always heard is the story. Yeah. Oh man.
I like I like the fact that he never really. It never became. It was always for Ivanhoe. It was always, I need to avenge my father. I need to avenge my father. I'm going after my father's killer. I'm reinstating our name. I'm trying to prove myself to my father, and that never changed. It
Mhm.
never took a jump into, okay, well, now I'm saving England. It's never jumped to, we just need to avoid everything so that we can save England. It's always he was very focused on his mission and what he was doing, and it didn't, because when you go to save England, you fall into a whole bunch of other little side quests, and it.
Well, see, it is that way at first, but if you think back to when he first talks to the friar, the Friar Bacon is telling him about how England is dying and Mordor is the cause of it and whatnot. And he says, the eclipse is coming. We have to move fast. And Ivanhoe says, I'm on a mission to avenge my family and raise the king's ransom. And Friar Bacon says, what good will it be to free Richard if he returns to find England dead? And Ivanhoe kind of has that pause, and he looks at him and says, what can I do to stop Mordor? That's kind of his shift. Now, granted, it's not, a big, character revelation that's given a whole lot of time to really set in. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I have to do this now.
I think because looking at this as this is a series versus a strictly a movie, that makes sense, because what you can sit there and say then as far as the series goes is this particular part of this series, we're avenging our father and we're gaining our father's respect. Overall, the course of the entire series, we're trying to save Richard and save England.
Yeah.
So this is just the one step that we need to get to that main goal. And that's fine. And that's great. I think they pulled it off wonderfully. So
definitely.
I just realized what Cam's doing. He's taking a shot for every time Odo brings out an egg.
No. Well, okay. So, but before I left Florida, the provider that I worked with gave me a bottle of wine as a going away present, and I only just popped it open before the stream started because I just got a corkscrew, and I've been taking little sips of it out of here.
Wrong egg.
Now,
Yeah.
Now, where did Odo? I mean, at what point in this did they swing by Home Depot? Because Odo straight up had a sledgehammer from Home Depot.
Yeah.
That was not a Warhammer. That was not Mjolnir. That was straight up. Somebody took a Stanley sledgehammer and spray painted the handle.
Oh, that would have been funny if it was like an orange handle as well.
I love whenever whenever Odo encounters the guy he swindled and they're kind of going at it. Odo's on his back and the guy swings down with his sword and Odo blocks it with his sledgehammer and pushes the sword away. When he does that, you hear shring. And even though the handle of his sledgehammer is made out of wood.
Wood.
So-
yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. All the post recordings
The
were
ADR
did not
stuff.
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first spell that Mordor casts to try and attack Ivanhoe,
I sure
I can recite the entire thing. It's so funny, and I'm sure it's all gibberish. Forcus apparet, and he sprinkles these CGI sprinkles into his bowl, and you're watching that. You're watching that. You're thinking, oh my God, is he raising the dead? Is he summoning something? And then Ivanhoe stops in that clearing and just a pig comes at him. And then the pig is going, and the footage is very obviously sped up because the legs are going. And not once in that entire scene do Ivanhoe and the pig share the shot together. So you can tell that the actor is having to act that like something is coming at him when there's nothing there.
The two didn't get along. They couldn't be on set together.
I know that they had creative differences.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the guy that plays Ivanhoe was actually not horrible.
No, he wasn't.
Good.
I thought he
smolders a lot
I mean,
too.
for what he's doing and what he's accomplishing, he's pulling it off.
Oh
So,
yeah.
He's like he's kind of like a medieval John Wick, not in like one man army type of thing, but he's very stoic. He says what he needs to say. Little moments of levity here and there, but for the most part, he's just
Yeah.
Hey, it was nice talking to y'all. I'll see y'all later. I have to go now.
all right. Have a good night, bud.
Good night.
Night.
And I do wish that he displayed a bit more range at times.
I don't think he needed it.
You don't think so?
I think, again, series, not a movie.
Sure.
As the series progresses and he starts, I think he's dealing with a lot of PTSD, a lot of stress. He's been in war for years, so he's been gone for a long time. So he's been dealing with a lot of crap here. Plus, now he's come back to find England in shambles. He's got to fight demons and necromancers and all this other nonsense. So for what he's doing, again, for a series, to have him open up just a little bit each episode rather than all at once, and then all of a sudden you got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You open
That's
up
very
all
true.
at once and then you got nowhere to go. Now we've got places we can go with his character. We can develop his character over the course of the series. So again, what they've done is not a bad thing necessarily.
No, definitely. And you have those moments where he displays genuine humanity.
Like when she tells him you don't have to kill everybody all the time, which I thought was funny because she said there's been enough bloodshed, and then she proceeds to punch all these guys. I'm like, I think you're still shedding blood. You're not killing them, but you're still shedding some blood. You're breaking noses here, so just saying.
Yeah. Well, I love whenever Ivanhoe meets her and she's about to get burned at the stake, and he frees her, and they get into the tussle with the peasants. She has those like studded gauntlets that she's blocking the guy's staff with, and she eventually wrestles the staff away from him and swings it up, and it hits the underside of his jaw, and you hear like a 1980s punch sound. And I'm like,
this felt very 80s fantasy,
makes.
by the way.
What's that?
I said it felt very 80s fantasy.
Yeah, and I thought,
which is not a bad thing.
I feel like that's a lot of its charm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if this series had come out like 10 years prior,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be one that everybody talked about.
Oh,
but it kind of missed that wave of campy nostalgia that everybody seems to love by probably about 5 to 6 years.
Was this a direct to DVD release, or did this air?
No, this was so this was a series that actually aired on TV over in the UK.
Oh, okay.
But when it came to America, obviously that they couldn't broadcast it in America because it's a UK series and we just weren't there yet. But when it came to America, the title got changed to The Darkest Night.
That's why it was so hard to find on IMDb. Okay.
Yeah, and that's when the DVDs started coming out. You had 2 episodes on this DVD, 2 episodes on this one, 2 episodes on this one, and I think a total of 4 DVDs were released in America. I have the first 3,
Nice.
but
Yeah.
if you go onto Amazon, I think you can find the entire series on DVD. I just don't know if
Oh,
it's
wow.
region locked.
It's on
It-
Roku. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a Roku TV. That's how I watched it. Was just I was like,
Gotcha.
oh, hey, it's on Roku.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
this.
I could have done that. I just watched it on TV.
Yeah, that's how I watched it too. But
Which, by
and-
the way, that was another thing that sucked. Was these streaming services really have got to figure out better placement for their commercials.
I know.
I get that you have to have ads in them, but on something like this that was on TV that had built-in spots for
I know.
commercials, drop your commercials there. That's what it's there for. You don't have to cut the middle of a freaking scene to put 2 ads in and then come back to the middle of the scene again. It's like,
Right.
guys, seriously, come on. Who's
They're
working
just-
down there?
they're just making sure you're paying attention.
I am. It pisses me off. Of course I'm paying attention. I brought it up, didn't I? Cheese and
Oh
crackers.
goodness.
Oh man.
No. Now, look, I want to talk a bit more about Mordor here. I mean, he was definitely one of the best things about these episodes.
He's like Grimtongue. I meant to say that.
Wormtongue?
He's-
Grimer Wormtongue.
Yeah, sorry, Wormtongue. Yeah,
you just kind of combine both names. But
Yes. That's what I do best at.
but he's very over the top, but you can tell the actor is having so much fun with it.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, whenever after the pig debacle fails and he's down in his cellar studying his book, when Prince John and Tancred come down the stairs, he kind of looks up and he closes the book and he goes, just
is
that
he in more
long
episodes, or is it
sigh.
just these 2?
What's that?
Is he in more of the show, or was it just these?
He is in more of the series, but not that actor.
Oh,
Oh,
That they do get another actor to play him moving forward, because the last shot of the movie is the second episode is when that drop of darkness comes down and gets put into that book. So Mordor does come back, but not the
somehow
same actor.
Mordor returned.
it's
right,
the-
exactly.
It's the whole Tom Riddle thing all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. I know I had looked this up a long time ago. I don't remember why the actor didn't come back.
Yeah, there
But-
is no trivia on this show like whatsoever. IMDb has nothing.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
it says I was kind of I just because I looked, I was like, okay, what's the rating on this thing? Am I gonna basically it's can I watch this around the kids?
Oh yeah,
And-
yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, except for IMDb has it like everything, violence, severe, nudity, sex, severe. But there wasn't any listing as far as what it is. It just says it's severe. I'm like, then you watch through this one. I'm like, I didn't see anything. They didn't even use curse words for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I don't think there was
Yeah.
even swearing in it. So
I don't think so
No.
either. I think that the worst thing that's said is from Friar Bacon when he says Mordor is conjuring a demon from hell, and that's like the worst thing that's
No.
said.
He did not
and
just
as
say
far
that.
as sex goes, we already talked about it. He kissed the little board
Yeah.
lady. So
You know what was the funny thing is when I was trying to find a poster of the show to like promote, even online, they're all in like 480p. I'm like, what the heck? Why is it?
Here's the thing: this series not only is it older, but it's so obscure that just nobody talks about it. Nobody makes merch for it. No one makes posters for it. Nobody has no one upscales the images because why? Like, who's going to talk about it besides
Yeah.
me? And on the one hand, I kind of don't like that, because I feel like as a series, I think it's pretty good. Well, in a manner of speaking, I do think it deserves more recognition. But on
Its
the other
top-rated
hand,
episode on IMDb is episode 10, with
Is
an
that right?
8.9 out of 10.
Yeah, but the thing with IMDb too that you gotta realize, like
Right,
we
right.
watched 2 episodes. All right,
Right.
now those 2 episodes are only the first episode on IMDb.
yeah,
The first
Oh.
episode on IMDb covers both of the 2 episodes that we watched. So
see.
10 is going to be like what, episode 20 and
20.
21,
yeah.
something like that. So
Okay. I didn't realize the actor that played Ivanhoe was in Highlander, the TV
Yeah.
series.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But Ben Pullen is the actor who played him, and he was a pretty prominent actor over in the UK. I mean, he didn't do a whole lot of like high profile stuff, but he's been in a fair amount of projects. So has Peter O'Farrell, the guy who played Odo. So has the guy who played Mordor, Cameron. What was his last name? It's not Cameron Bright. That's the stupid kid from X-Men 3. I can't. Oh, Cameron Rhodes. That's his name. He's a big actor over in England. I mean, they have a lot of like names in there.
I was going to say the guy that played Odo was in Legend, which is Tom Cruise movie. Which
Okay, that's where I recognized him.
Why I know that I don't know.
I was wondering because
But he was in Legend. He was also in the Harry Potter movies, or 1 or 2 of them. I can't remember. But he
Oh,
was
I
in
mean-
he was in Harry Potter. So
Really?
I was going to say
I actually didn't know that.
because I recognized him, and I just watched
Yeah.
Legend a couple months ago, which is certainly one of the movies of all time.
It is certainly one of the movies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I'm
Was
looking
it-
up.
where was it? Was it the fair? Maybe there was a lot of when they had like the.
He's the short. It just says short man at the Daily Prophet in Chamber. of
He's the guy
Secrets.
that in Chamber of Secrets when they're at the bookstore and Harry Potter meets what's his name for the first time?
Draco Malfoy.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Lockhart.
Oh,
When he meets
Lockhart.
Lockhart for the first time,
Yeah.
and they pull him out of the crowd and say, "Oh, look here, we're going to take a picture with
Mhm.
Gilderoy."
Oh,
and
he's the guy who
he's-
pulls him out.
he's the guy that pulls him out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm thinking about it now, and I can hear the voice. He goes, "Harry Potter."
Yeah.
I can hear it.
Well, his last acting gig was Chamber of Secrets, according
Yeah.
to IMDb.
I'm sure he's done more. I think, if I remember correctly, I think he's primarily a stage actor.
Ah,
Yeah.
Well, which a lot of the actors in this series actually came from stage.
Right.
So
okay.
And that's
Yeah.
again, that would be why their lines are delivered the way that they are. If you go watch a stage production of something versus a movie production of something,
yeah,
it's going to be a lot. The delivery of things are going to be a lot different.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a lot more on par. It'll be a lot more. I don't know. It's different. It's just take my word for it. It's different.
Yeah. Right.
Trust
right,
me, it's different.
I like that the characters are all given a good amount to
wow.
do in the series. Nobody really feels super passive, like in the Screaming Marshes,
Oh yeah.
which very obviously not marshes, but as they're going through and that they're attacked by the little marsh minions, whatever those things are. Odo is the one that saves them all. He starts.
Mhm.
He throws an egg at one of the things, and it like
He throws
electrocutes it.
several legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he starts
It-
flinging the potion.
Yeah, it's like what are these potions? What do they do?
Oh, I think
Uh?
they were. Was it what he stole from the other?
It
wizard?
was.
Yeah, those are the potions he stole
Yeah.
from Fingal.
Yeah, but we
Yep.
still don't know what they are, or what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
I just looked it up. This was filmed in New Zealand, which makes sense because the open field scenery is
Oh, sure,
very nice. Very nice.
definitely.
Anyway. Back to the potions.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna go to a place called the Devil's Tower. I was expecting something, even if it was CGI, something. No, it's a castle
It's
in the
just
middle
another
of the-
fort.
in the
You're
middle of
right.
the day. Quick, let's sneak up on this fortress under the cover of broad afternoon.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
and then they go in, And the first thing that happens is they just start having big rocks thrown at them, like
Right.
huge rocks, like pieces of the fort
Yeah.
itself. And you know,
And how many,
everything
for
is
God's sakes, where did all these rocks come from?
Yeah.
And who's reloading them?
exactly who's firing them. Eh?
Yeah.
Ivanhoe sustains an injury whenever one of the rocks chips his shield and sends the wood chip
Yeah.
into his shoulder. You know, what significance does that have?
Again, that's good, though. That's good. That is attention to detail, because that is something that any other fantasy movie would have missed. Yeah, he got hit. Guess what? Your stuff falls apart. You
Yeah.
get hit in the shield, it's gonna break. You know, this isn't. You know, oh, bing, bing, everything's bouncing off of me because I'm freaking Superman.
Yeah.
No, and not only did it break, and you saw it break, it injured him. It
Yes.
hit him
Oh,
in
but
the
it wasn't
shoulder.
that bad of an injury. Rebecca
don't
just breathes
care.
on it, and it's fine.
Our hero got hurt. That
Yes.
was the
Yeah.
big thing. These
Yeah.
heroes are not impregnable. You know, they are not Superman, for God's sakes.
Yeah. No, I liked it.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely agree with you, and I love whenever they do finally escape the rocks and he leans up against the wall and pulls out that wood chip. His reaction is silly on
Mhm.
execution, but
Yeah.
good in idea.
Yeah.
You know, he pulls out and he goes, oh, and he kind of has that smile on his face.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's cheesy when you look at it, but one, they just escaped danger. Two, he's injured. Three, he injures himself further by pulling it out. He's getting a crazy endorphin rush right now.
Yeah. One thing I did love, this was one detail that kind of made me laugh. When they come across the treasure chest,
Yeah.
and Odo's obsessed with it, and he opens it, and then the fire comes, and so they all duck, and Odo hides in the chest.
Hides in the
Yeah.
chest. He even says,
Yeah.
get in the chest.
They don't know what's coming. He just tells them to get in the chest.
What if that exploded? But when Ivanhoe goes to open it, Rebecca goes to touch it. He goes, no, don't touch it. And he opens it. He's like, ah. And then when Odo gets out, he touches the wood.
No,
get out.
no. It gets even better than that, because he tells Rebecca, he says, don't touch it. And he uses the staff, and he can't get the thing up, so he reaches out and puts the thing up, like, you just
That's
touched
right.
it. You just touched it. He flipped the little locking
That
mechanism
was one
up
of
so
those-
he could get the staff under there and open it up. And I'm like,
That was one of those
you
where they're
probably
filming on the
could've cut
camcorder.
that one little second out.
That
You
was
would've
one of
been
the things where they're filming. You know, they're filming, and the cameraman actually goes, whoops.
Oh,
But then they did also try to do some more attention to detail whenever the fire dissipates and
Yeah.
I mean, they're hiding behind Ivanhoe's shield.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
fire is gone for about 6 or 7 seconds before he goes, ow,
yeah, it's hot.
because it's hot. You know,
Of course,
yeah.
it makes sense. Perfect.
And then I love when Odo's trying to figure out the secret door compartment, and he goes, "Oh, it's a cross." He goes, "Wait, it's a sword." And then they all fall with the staff.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I missed one detail." I just thought that was funny. That was done well. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
The
So-
comedic side of it.
Yeah.
Even though
Well-
the lava was kind of silly, but whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's
exactly.
all silly.
It's
but
CGI silly.
I think whoever created the traps was like, if you made it through all the previous ones, you'll figure this one out.
until they get to the blood pool.
Right.
Then they're toast.
Exactly. You definitely can't
15
jump
foot
as
long
10,
foot-
15
Oh, wait,
feet.
it's only 2 feet across? Oh, I got this. No worries.
Yeah.
So
It's all about the angle.
after they get the serpent's egg from that rock, in the middle of the blood pool, that's whenever the demonified Tancred shows up, of
Mhm.
course.
How
And-
did he get there?
Yeah, well, Mordor told him to seek him out and kill him. That's obviously
that's
all the
right.
direction he needed.
Yeah. And he was just this close to them.
He was only 2 days from retirement. But they have another, they get in a tussle, and Tancred's like beating the crap out of everybody. Like
Yeah.
Ivanhoe stabs him like twice, and it does nothing, and he gets like flung across the room. Odo comes up with his magical egg, and he throws it. It hits him in the head, and nothing happens.
Wrong egg.
Yeah.
And again, he said that.
It doesn't even shatter. It just bounces off
Take a shot for every time Odo says wrong egg.
twice.
Twice.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
actually
You're only
twice,
breaking
yeah.
twice.
And
Huh?
now
There you
Yeah,
go.
I'm sure he does it more in the series, but for these 2 episodes, it's only twice. But Tancred is finally defeated whenever Odo opens up the box containing the serpent's egg, and the light, I guess, purifies him or something, and finally lets him die.
But before he dies, he says thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they released him, and again,
Right, exactly.
good. I
Yeah.
liked it.
I
You
do
know,
too.
it wasn't a cheesy line. It wasn't
No.
finally I can get to the party. You know, it wasn't stupid. It was a sincere, thank
Yeah.
you for releasing me.
That's
kind
an
of thing,
example of
and then
when the
it's gone.
writing is good in this show. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's drops in a very large bucket, but
Mhm.
it still drops that add to it.
Honestly, it's more consistent with some of the shows that are out nowadays. I mean,
Well, I mean, if you go back and watch like the first season of Supernatural, it's cheesy as fuck. or go back and watch the first season of Dexter. It's cheesy as fuck. I mean,
and see, that's back then. That's when they let shows develop and find their footings. Nowadays, if you're not good by the 3rd episode, it's like cancel, and it's like,
Return of the Mike Gaming. How are you today?
hey,
Welcome. Yeah, and for the first 2 episodes of the first season of a series with such a low budget, I mean, I really appreciate how much they really went for it. I mean, that they had a clear vision, and that they had a very concise and decisive idea for how they wanted to approach the story that they wanted to tell, and they stuck to their guns. It's like Dave said before, the plot doesn't meander. It's always very forward moving. It doesn't have a lot of momentum, sure. I mean, there's not really a huge sense of urgency to it, but it's the fact that nothing really feels unneeded because it's all part of something that they're doing.
right. It's nothing. There's nothing like unnecessary with
Yeah.
any of the story, any of the writing, no matter how cheesy it may be at times, or sped up or slowed down or whatever. It's all there for a reason.
Yeah. Now, they have the serpent's egg. They finally return to the castle where Prince John and Mordor are, and they infiltrate. Now, and this is the scene where Odo has the bucket of piss thrown on him.
I love that.
It's so good. It's
Like, what?
Especially the reaction too of the lady, because when it goes, but
and she just throws the bucket and runs away. He creeps past those 2 guards, and they're like, "Do you smell something?"
I was waiting for them when the door opened and closed. I was waiting for them to say, "Must have been the wind."
No, they just look at the door
Inside,
open and close. They're just like,
well, and that happened several times. Like when he actually lifted him up on the wall initially, and
Yeah.
he heard the grappling hook hit, and he turns around and he's like, and he keeps walking, and then he hears Modo open and close the door, and he turns around and like, and he keeps going. I'm like, are you?
It's just a common occurrence.
Really?
Yeah.
He comes across Prince John, just starts stealing
I
his
know.
stuff, and Prince John smells him and opens his eyes. And it just
I
punches
never
him
kissed
right in
his
the.
legs
And
again.
it's not like Odo rears back from the punch and holds his nose. It's just he punches him and he goes. Poof.
Yeah.
It's funny, but funny in all the best ways. I thought like
Mhm.
a lot of the physical humor in this show is really well done, in my opinion.
I wouldn't be surprised, just due to budget or whatever, if they didn't have any stunt doubles.
I don't think they did. I
Which
really
is
don't think
what
they
makes
did.
it all the more impressure when you think about it.
Well, because if you
They're
go
all
through,
their own little Tom Cruises. You know?
but if you go through and you watch the action, I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
some of the action is really quick cut, shaky, and whatnot, but you can always see the actor, always.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I mean, they probably,
Yeah, it's not like the back of the head shot.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not a matter of it's not just they probably couldn't afford stunt doubles. I mean,
Right.
they probably couldn't, but there's a
I think
level.
it's better without it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of commitment here that is very, very obvious. And I think that it elevates what you're seeing significantly.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if there's any kind of like big battles in the show, but even if they had the budget for stunt doubles, they don't really need them because the fight, the fights, while intense, don't really require one.
No, it's very like meat and potatoes kind of fighting.
I mean, even when they were fighting the demon beast thing with where they were at the serpent's egg, and he said thank you and everything. Even that, I mean, the guy in the suit, whatever, was just standing there, kind of doing this and knocking them off as they went to attack. But you could tell it was sped up. So I mean, it was almost like, okay, well, it looks good. They're speeding it up to make it look, fast and intense and everything else.
It's not Jean-Claude Van Damme levels of bad.
No, it's not that. But and the scene where this one got me too. When they go and they meet the wizard for the first time,
Fringle,
and he's got that worm thing guarding the door, and you can see him go. And she's like, "Wait a minute! Look, it's just an illusion."
He didn't feel that there was no impact.
When he said, I was gonna say he didn't even feel that there was no impact. I was like,
it took him 4 or 5 swings.
And if you go back and watch it, you can see that they really should have minded the spacing better, because you can see that he is really far away from it.
Yeah,
and that's even more apparent whenever Rebecca walks up to it, because she gets a good 3 or 4 feet past him before the thing starts to shimmer.
Yeah.
It's
they weren't quite symmetrical enough either. The camera.
When she walked into it, it was like all of a sudden it's like the pool. It had the same effect as the pool.
Yeah,
you think that pool is like 10 or 15 feet across, and like, oh my gosh, how are they going to get across this? And then it's like, oh, he jumped over it. Oh, it's not that big. All right. And she said, oh, look, it's just an illusion. And she walks into it like, well, shoot, that ain't that big. I was thinking this thing, it's a big monster cave thing. And it's like, oh, that's just a little tiny door.
That makes me think of what it's like for actors, like, because the rest of the beasts are all CGI, and that one is CGI, but it is not real. I wonder what that's like, having to act where it's like, oh, that's not real, versus like, oh my gosh, it's set, get back,
Yeah, I love how whenever sets coming out of the walls, you can tell that when they're distorting the wall for when it's like pushing out against the borders of the portal it's coming through. Like everything around its hand stretches out with it. It's like the silliest effect. It's one of those things where it's the same situation as you look at a photo of a girl posing, and you can see that her butt is clearly photoshopped because everything around it's super distorted.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, but I can see this is the kind of show or series with the charm that I can see if I watched this as a kid, it'd be like, wow.
It'd probably be well. See, that's exactly the thing, because I was the perfect age to watch this. Like I said, I was like 9 or so years old when I watched this, and I thought it was the best thing ever. I mean, the sword fighting, the magic, the adventure. I thought it's definitely very much kind of a turn your brain off kind of thing to watch. But I mean, even with that being the case, it's still really enjoyable, in my opinion. It's not great, but it's good enough.
I'm gonna date myself a little bit here. When Mario 2 first came out, and we beat Mario 2 for the very first time, the very end sequence, and I'll spoil Mario 2 for you. The very end sequence, it turns out it's just a dream. The whole game has just been a dream that Mario's been having. And it shows him laying in bed, and he goes back to sleep, and he's just snoring. And you see the credits roll and everything. So go look this up on YouTube, because you got to see it, because my brother and I were like, oh my gosh, that is like the greatest graphics of all time.
This is Mario 2, you said?
Yeah, the very end credits. Watch the end credits for Mario 2. Because we would watch that and we'd be like, oh, this is the greatest graphics of all time. I can't believe it. Oh, so good, so good. And then, of course, now you look at it and go, ouch. That was hurtful.
Do you think we'll get copyright?
For Nintendo, probably not, as long as we don't have any music.
Yeah, just don't play the music.
Why do you have it up?
I might have it up. Let me share my screen. I muted it, so
If you don't have it up, might I suggest a prescription of Viagra?
Oh, snap! I heard Cialis works pretty good too.
Here we go. All right, go ahead.
I muted it, so that's
Okay.
Okay.
Basilius Productions.
That's just the first
So
video that
this-
popped up.
This is going to be like 1980 something or another.
I just looked up Mario 2
80,
end credits,
88 or 89, I think.
and it's only 3 minutes, so should be good.
I love how somebody else's production company was at the beginning of this video, but it's all like not their work.
Yeah.
Mario was the main bull crap. You need Luigi for a bunch of that stuff. Actually, you need Toad on the ice levels too.
I hate ice levels. In any game, I hate ice levels. Or water temples. All right, let's get on with it.
Come on, Mario.
Let me
Quit
fast forward.
waving.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Those are the greatest graphics ever. Look at them. It's so good.
They're wonderful.
Look at it. It's like it's like seeing Mario in real life.
Move aside, Final Fantasy. The big dogs are in town.
See, look, he opens his eyes and then goes back to sleep. Look at
My
that.
God, it's like I'm there.
My-
There's a cast?
I can't imagine. I can't imagine what the music sounds like. It's probably like
I think it's the Mario theme, but like in a sleepy time. If I remember. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played
wow.
Mario.
So there's that.
So that's the thing. Again, that's the greatest graphics ever. Now
Hey.
going back and as a kid, I mean y'all are what young well, I say y'all. Cam, you being a youngster preteen, seeing this in 2000
Yeah.
and the CGI being what it was back then and seeing this on TV, you're probably I get it. That's like, oh my gosh, this is like awesome.
The best
Look at those
CGI I've
effects.
ever seen. The best CGI I've ever seen, hands down, is Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I
I'm sorry.
did not watch that at
That is-
all.
Oh, let me tell you something. That is some of the best CGI. I will pull up
Had no
Shark
desire.
Mate.
Had no
Let's
desire.
watch the whole movie real quick. You know.
I will never forget George Lopez in that movie.
Yeah.
I
I'm
know everything,
free.
and you know nothing. You will meet me in the principal's office after school with
He
your
ruined my-
parents.
He ruined my dream journal. I did not.
Mr. Electric sent him to the principal's office and have him expelled. It's like, why would you expel somebody for saying that someone ruined their dream journal? Send him to the principal's office and have him expelled.
Failed.
Oh God,
Oh man.
I really don't like that movie, but God, is it funny?
Yeah.
That was one of those movies. I think that movie came out at some point, and I may have been a lot older at that point to where it was just like, oh my God, we have reached new levels of stupidity. and our-
dream.
Our kids are just going to be completely retarded. So the next generation is just going to, because they're watching this. And because I remember seeing the previews for it, and I was just like, what are we thinking? This is horrible. Oh, I said the R word. I didn't mean to say that. But
Oh, that's all right. Well, we don't have to censor ourselves here. I'm not monetized. So,
Oh, why did you tell me that?
but fun fact though, I think I might have told you guys this before. About a buddy of mine in the 6th grade was actually an extra in Shark Boy and Lava Girl,
Oh, yeah?
because at the time I lived in Austin, and Robert Rodriguez's studio I
Yeah.
think is in Austin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he was an extra on the movie. He was
Wow.
he was in the classroom, and he got a check for a whopping $75 and a Shark Boy and Lava Girl shirt about 3 months before the movie premiered. So
There you go.
yeah, because that movie came out in 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would have been like, God, I would have been almost 30 at that point. So yeah, yeah, that was
Wait, you said 2005?
Mhm.
yeah.
That was the year I was born. So there you go.
Oh my
Good
God,
Lord.
youngster.
Oh man. Oh, here we go.
But you know okay, so they infiltrate Prince John's castle. They rescue Friar Bacon from Mordor. They engage in a scuffle where Mordor is given the power of Set briefly, and it's not a bad fight like at all. And finally, Friar Bacon's freed. He takes the serpent's egg and just he doesn't use any kind of incantation or no arcane magics. No, he just throws the thing at
Yeah,
Set.
why did they need Friar Bacon to do that?
Well, they didn't need him to do that. They
He just was there. He was at the right place at the right time.
so Mordor had abducted him from his from the friary because of how much he.
They alluded to the fact that they needed the friar to operate the snake's eye,
Well, yeah, but
and I was
Friar
just like,
Bacon-
why, he just threw it at him. Why did he need that?
Well, yeah, the friar when he gave Ivanhoe his mission initially of finding the druid, he said, "Find the serpent's egg and bring it to me." My guess is because Friar Bacon knew more about it, knew how to work it, whatever.
Or maybe he
No.
needed it. Maybe he wanted it. If you can get it before we have to throw it at this thing, then I can learn stuff from it. Because he did say that too. He said, all of its secrets are gone now too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe
yeah, exactly.
it's a reach, but I'll take it. I'm kicking Monty Python right here because all I'm thinking is holy hand grenade. In fact, I expected Friar Bacon to stand up and say 1, 2, 5, 3.
I think this is a classic case of the charm of this show makes up for any of the stuff that makes you go,
What up, dingus?
hey,
What's up?
hey,
What's up?
Spencer.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there's a lot about the show that when you really think about it and break it down, makes no sense. Absolutely. But with something like this, where you don't really have to watch it with a super scrutinous mindset,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to make a whole lot of sense. It can just be good, campy fun, and
You've had a long
that's really
day,
what it
You're
is.
tired. You don't want to
Exactly.
think anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Which is-
after Set is sent back to the Shadow Realm or whatever, that they make their big escape. Ivanhoe
Spencer, I
finds
can't believe we have not talked about that.
what's that?
Heath Ledger's performance in this is just
Oh my God! Yeah, yeah. With a cameo of Heath Ledger as Set.
right. That would have been so fun. He is the only actor to be in both Dark Knights.
So as everyone have, of course we've been praising Ledger's Joker. I mean, who do you think we are?
Right. He
But they make their escape, and you know Ivanhoe dives off the dock into the river into probably what's 3 feet of water.
Yeah. Because
and then he's right where they are. Just
if he had dove off, see, this whole thing got me because one, if he had dove off the end of the dock, I might have been okay with that because it was like, okay, well, the dock
He's
goes
like halfway down.
he's barely past the shoreline and he dives in, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. And then it shows him washed up on the shore of
Right where
this
they are.
stream. Of all things, like it's not even like the river carried him somewhere and dropped him off. It's literally like a trickle of water that somehow he floated down on and ended up on the shore. And I'm like, what?
How did he end up there?
Who knows?
His whole family is just right there too.
Yeah, they all landed right there. Everybody ended up right there.
Yeah, but they look like they've been standing there for a while. But whenever Ivanhoe finally looks up,
Nobody
Rowena's like,
wants to go down there and
"Is that
help
really
him,
you?"
They, They didn't try to check his body, see if he's alive. They're just like,
They're all just standing there looking. Oh, look, there he is. Let's sit here and wait and see if he wakes up.
Rebecca, who loves him and is
Yeah.
jealous of him,
We're
go
just
to
gonna stand
wake him
here.
up.
He'll wake up. Just watch. Watch this. Watch
So-
this. He'll wake up. He'll wake up. Watch.
I was,
No,
I was,
don't go get him. He'll wake up. No, just wait.
I was waiting for her to be
Wait,
like,
wait.
oh, it's. You know what I would have loved? This would have added to the cheesiness, as if she
Ah!
goes, oh, as if she goes, oh, it's not that bad, and then kisses him, and he wakes up, and he's like, oh, Rebecca, you know.
All I can think of, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there is a show on YouTube called Bravest Warriors, and it's done by the people who made Adventure Time. And there's a little short where this character Catbug, which is this character here,
Oh,
that Catbug is playing with a potato with googly eyes and a stick with googly eyes, and he's doing like some romantic drama, and every couple of lines he goes, Rebecca!
oh my gosh. Hey, you know what? The lore is deep with that.
Yeah. Yes, it definitely is. But Ivanhoe finds out that his family is alive. His father and his ward and everybody had escaped through tunnels, and he finally gets his blessing from his father. And they say, "Oh, Mordor will return." Oh, of course. And as they ride away, we have the shot of the little drop of darkness coming down onto the book.
Why did he leave? I'm curious as to why he left. Because I can't stay here because family's in danger. Blah 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 blah. He had with his father and her ward and the people that were there. He had a smallish army that he could have started building upon to help recapture Richard and put him back on the throne. But instead, he's got to ride off.
There's still 9 episodes left in the
All right.
season.
Well,
All right.
it's because he's still set on raising the ransom for Richard, so he wouldn't need an army for that. But I mean, you could also make the argument of, well, with all those people, they could spread the word around. They could, they could all participate in getting money, and what the series must continue.
Okay.
So
I will continue to watch the series and hope that is explained somewhere.
Right. And we get the tease of Mordor's return, which which does happen. Mordor does come back. I think he comes back in episode. Well, you hear his voice in episode 3, but I think he comes back in episode 4, if I remember correctly. But again, it's not the same actor, unfortunately.
See, that's disappointing. Is there
and
a cut somewhere that doesn't include the new Mordor actor? There has to be.
Man,
like
I wish.
a
I wish.
DVD cut.
Ano mestone, melalo pexitatis.
I'm telling you, they had to have told him, "Hey, look, just say whatever gibberish comes to mind in this kind of voice."
Yeah.
Oh,
God of the underworld, I shall conjure you up on the night of darkness.
Oh, with the eclipse.
Yeah. And it's funny. When Ivanhoe is talking to Friar Bacon, he says there will be a lunar eclipse on the eclipse on the night of the next full moon in 3 days. In the second episode, they look up at the moon and they say, "How long until the full moon?" And Rebecca says, 1 day, maybe 2 days. It's like, oh, he just said it was 3 days. How do they not keep track of how many nights have passed?
Well, see, she's the second opinion,
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, if you think about it, it's actually pretty realistic because the intelligence of people back then.
The rising and setting of the sun is the work of gods.
Right. Well, it's like meet me here same time tomorrow. How do I know the time? Sun now? Meet me tomorrow when sun now here then. Oh man.
just a few fun details they decided not to include in the show, unfortunately, to its detriment.
Unwatchable. I just,
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that about sums up the first two episodes. Does everybody think that they'll continue the series? I mean, not that we're going to do the series on the
Yeah.
show. I mean,
Oh yeah.
well, okay. Well, we might do another episode of Cam and Focus to do the entire series.
Dang.
But I can't.
That'd
do
be a lot
like,
to cover.
well, I can't do like 2 episodes a week. That's going to take up like 16 weeks.
Hey, you're covered. There you go.
Yeah, but I want to talk
No,
about
I'm
movies.
kidding.
Yeah, but there's other
I'm
stuff.
kidding. Oh, I know. We would get bored.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely we'll plan to do like the full series, maybe like in the next month or so. Give everybody time to like watch the whole thing.
Darn it.
But yeah, I mean, what with everything we've talked about, what do you guys think of the show so far? I mean, is it something that you are really interested in continuing? Is it something you enjoyed more than you thought it would? I mean, what are your thoughts?
And one thing I forgot to mention, because it feels very lived in. Like you almost feel like these actors have been playing these characters for some amount of time. Like it's
Sure.
not. It doesn't have the awkwardness of they're trying to figure out the character. And I thought it was a good, solid first 2 episodes that make you go, okay, I'm interested. There's enough here that I want to keep watching.
Yeah.
Not a, but not in a, oh geez, this is painful watch.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable.
I enjoyed it. I will most likely keep up with it.
Yeah.
Just as something to turn on while I'm messing with my Legos kind of thing.
Cleaning around the house, you hear Odo, wrong egg.
See, because here's the thing. I've been working on some sets, and I was working on some stuff while I was
he
watching
said set.
this.
Get him out of here. He's going to conjure set.
Oh, yeah. So I was working
Someone
on
speak
stuff,
gibberish.
but I kept finding myself, I had all my stuff out on a table, and I'm sitting there in my big blue chair back there, and I was just like, I found myself just sitting back watching, and as my Legos are sitting there, and I'm just like, I really need to get onto this, but I kind of want to watch this. So I don't know about background noise. Maybe it's like a get up on Saturday morning kind of thing and knock out an episode or 2 and call it good. So
yeah, I agree, and that's something that the show does moving forward is a lot of the episodes have like an episode of the week kind of vibe or adventure of the week kind of vibe, which is fine. I mean, it's more of
not every episode.
Right. It's more of these characters. It's more of them doing what they do, and even on episodes that feel kind of superfluous, they're still enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'd say that about does it for today's episode of Cam and Focus Weekly. Does anybody have any shameless plugs? I mean, we all work for the same organization, so I assume that we're all going to kind of say the same thing here. But well, what have we got coming up, Andrew?
Oh, I don't want to steal from David. He does it better than me.
So Monday night, we've got MCU Mondays. We're talking about Jessica Jones, episode 7, which when we get done here, I'm going to go watch that. So that's my evening summed up right there. Thursday night, we are on Clone Wars on Cantina Happy Hour. Those are both
5 and 6, right?
Huh?
Episodes 5 and 6?
5 and
yeah.
1.
No, 6 and 7, I think.
6 and 7.
6, 7.
Yeah, it's a droid arc. It's where R2 gets captured.
That's right.
So we're talking about Clone Wars. We're going through the Clone Wars, which is a lot of fun. And that's my shameless plugs.
All right.
I mean, I don't have shameless plugs, but I have made some purchases recently.
Oh yeah, what you got?
So, to no one's surprise, I stopped by Walmart today because that's just my life.
I did too.
There you go.
But I got groceries.
Well, see, I don't have to worry about that right now. I came across the 5 film collection for Final Destination.
Nice.
On DVD, which I haven't seen, but I'm excited to check these out. Seem like simple movies to watch,
The first one was good. Anyone past that was just like, eh.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, exactly. This was in the $5 Walmart bin, which I thought was a cool find. It is a double feature of The Fugitive and U.S. Marshals.
Ooh, The Fugitive.
The Fugitive was amazing. U.S.
Yeah.
Marshals again.
What-
Tommy
I
Lee
haven't
Jones
seen
won
that
an
one.
Academy Award for it, and it was like, oh hey, let's capitalize on that. And then
Exactly.
it was like, it's not as
So start with U.S. Marshals and then watch Fugitive after, so that way you end on a higher note.
Right. No, and I've seen The Fugitive several times. I love that movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. Fugitive
Yeah.
is
I haven't seen U.S.
amazing.
Marshals yet, so now I gotta. This one though is the cool one. All right.
Oh boy, is it Emu War?
Right at Walmart. Yeah.
at
No, the
Walmart.
collector's edition is sold out. It was in the
4K.
bottom. It's the 4K copy, but it was at the very bottom of the $5 bin. I was like, I dove in.
It was under the soup aisle.
Yeah, yeah. And you see my legs are dangling at, it was like, what's going on, Rush Hour trilogy on Blu-ray.
Ah, yes.
Not only is the slipcover cool, the actual artwork on the
Nice.
case
Oh,
is pretty
nice.
cool.
Hell yeah. I
And,
love Rush Hour.
I've been speaking Chinese for 3 weeks.
We could have been a good couple. We could have had something special. But you one crazy ass bitch.
What happened to him? What happened to Chris Tucker? He made all of those Rush Hour
Oh, I know.
movies. He made the Friday movies, and he did The Fifth Element, and then he just kind of like disappeared.
Yeah, he still
I
does
love-
stand up.
Oh,
yeah,
does he?
Yeah. I love the scene in the club where it's like all the like evil guys. I think it's Rush Hour 2, and he's like getting the party started, and
He's singing Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and it's very clearly auto-tuned.
But I mean, he was great.
great.
I loved it.
Yeah,
Fifth Element was amazing, by the way.
I mean he's easily the funniest. Don't get me wrong, Jackie Chan is funny, but I will say this, and you definitely cannot make these today. I'll tell you that.
No.
Oh no.
Well,
Well, like Su Young, you are so old now.
so,
like-
young, so young.
You is me. That is you. You
Are
was
you
deaf.
deaf? No, you was blind. I'm not
I am
blind, you blind. That is what I said. You just said what? I did not say what. I said you. Well, when the big rumor was going around that they were making Rush Hour 4, I was like, that's not going to
Yeah,
work.
so no.
It's not going to work because the humor of those movies is Jackie Chan Chinese, Chris Tucker Black. That's the humor.
I love when
Um,
Chris Tucker pulls over the two girls in the car. I think it's Rush Hour 3.
This license says 180 pounds. Way more than a damn car, girl. I have a thyroid condition. Well, stop eating thyroids.
Well, I heard a quote from Jackie Chan the other day talking about the Rush Hour movies, and he said with Rush Hour 1, he said they had a very limited schedule and limited budget, which allowed them, but the humor was there, and they didn't think too much on it, and they just got it done. Rush Hour 2, a little bit longer budget, a little bit longer schedule, a little bit bigger budget. Still has funny stuff there. By Rush Hour 3, they had whatever budget and time they wanted, to where there's still funny parts, but it kind of doesn't have the same charm.
Sure.
But
Rush Hour 3 is like a criminal underuse of Hiroyuki Sanada. I mean, he's one of the best actors out of Japan, and
I
he's
cannot
in
pronounce that. I'm sorry.
he's in 2 scenes or
Sonata,
two and a half
like the
scenes.
Hyundais.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounded like you were putting a spell on me. I'm sorry. I just
No. Let me just sprinkle this sparkling potion in there.
oh my god.
Oh God. Well, I
Fun
think that
stuff.
about does it for today's episode of Cam and Focus Weekly. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for everyone who participated in the chat. And thank you, Andrew and Dave, for joining me. It was a lot of fun talking about this. We'll definitely plan to do a stream for the entire series, at some point in the near future. In the meantime, check us out over on Feast of Fandoms, as well as right here on Cam and Focus. Like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be here next Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't quite know yet what we're going to be covering, whether it's going to be a movie or a topic, but I will be posting about it on my personal page. So again, thanks everybody for joining me, and have a good night.